let's go ahead and talk about the border a bit because there is a real mess going down in Texas right now. As you can see on the screen, a Business Insider article, child migrants drowned in the Rio Grande after Texas blocked Border Patrol from the area, Congressman says. Three migrants drowned after Texas authorities blocked Border Patrol. A woman, an 8-year-old girl, a 10-year-old boy drowned in the Rio Grande, authorities said. Representative Henry Kellar, whatever, said in a post on Twitter X, I'm going to call it Twitter X still, okay? I'm not going to call it X alone, that it was a tragedy and that the state bears responsibility. Three migrants, including two children, died in Texas on Saturday after state authorities blocked Border Patrol from accessing the area. Now, TLDR, Texas added wire, blocking off migrants and even in water, which can trap them, injure, or in this scenario, potentially kill them, which it did. It helped kill them. Texas border guards blocked off Border Patrol from getting rid of it. Texas guards are state. Border Patrol are federal. Biden gave them a warning a week ago to stop blocking Border Patrol. Greg Abbott, who is in charge of the Texas guards, did not listen. So this went to the conservative Supreme Court, which actually ruled in Biden's favor, 4-5. Now, it should be 9-0 because this is fairly simple. In this case, the federal government overrides the state government. But Greg Abbott is refusing. And not only are they refusing, they are adding more wiring to, in their minds, which we'll get to. They're calling this an invasion. This has been a Republican talking point, and it is a very important talking point for them to win, as we'll talk about later. Now, let's go ahead and go on to this next, the clip I have, because Tucker Carlson is still around and he is independent. He's no longer with Fox News. He got the can from Fox News after being wrapped up in a lawsuit, which ultimately led Fox News to dish out $780 million, I believe. I believe it was the $780 million for their, stop the steal, taking part of the big lie. So here's Tucker Carlson. He is going to be talking to Greg Abbott about is this entire border conflict with the federal government, with Joe Biden, of course, being the president. Let's go ahead and give it a look here. Well, a listen here.
Greg Abbott of Texas, who joins us by phone from India. Governor Abbott, thank you so much for joining us. If the administration declares that it plans to federalize the National Guard of the state of Texas, your National Guard, what will be your response?
Well, first, I'll be shocked. That would be a boneheaded move on his part, a total disaster. But for one, as you might imagine, we are prepared in the event that that unlikely event does occur to make sure that we will be able to continue exactly what we've been doing over the past month, and that is building these barriers, whether it be the concertina wire or other anti-climb border barriers, whatever we've been building. The Biden administration is now trying to attack us because of it, and we will continue to do exactly what we're doing to expand our denial of illegal entry into the state of Texas.
With state employees, I assume, not with National Guard, but can you envision a scenario in which you would put armed state employees on the border instead of the National Guard of Texas?
We do have other armed state employees on the border as we speak right this minute, and that's the Texas Department of Public Safety, as well as other law enforcement officers, as well as National Guard from other states. And you can be assured there will be more National Guard from other states and more law enforcement officers within the state of Texas and other states. And, Tucker, I just signed a new law in the state of Texas that will go into effect on March the 5th that authorizes any law enforcement officer in the state of Texas to be able to arrest anybody coming across the border illegally.
Have you spoken to the president or anyone from the Biden White House about what appears to be an imminent collision?
I have not, to be clear. I have spoken to the president about the border. I met him on a tarmac in El Paso and talked to him directly about what was going on. I handed him a letter that had in it immediate solutions he could take that would immediately secure the border without the need of any new law to be passed. Despite the fact that I handed him on altogether 8 different letters, he has refused to ever respond. My point in telling you that, we have laid down the precursor of what's called Article 4, Section 4 of the United States Constitution to show that we have been invaded and we have demanded support from the president to safeguard our state.
So the word invasion and the word invaded is, like I said, very important for these conservatives to try to propagate, because they are trying to use legal wording of the word invasion when in reality there is no invasion, but they're trying to use that as an excuse to overstep the federal government when it's just not the case. And in terms of Joe Biden causing causing an invasion and so-called opening the borders, we know that's not true at all either, because for the longest time now, President Biden has been using Title 42, which is the same policy that Donald Trump used, and even going on to the Cato Institute, who did research and put out some data. According to the Cato Institute, I should say, and keep in mind, the Cato Institute isn't some liberal propaganda machine out in California, coastal elite, woke, SJW, if you want to use 2014 language still. These are this is a libertarian think tank. So let's go ahead and keep that in mind here when we look at this data, and I'll read right from it. According to new data published last month, the Biden Department of Homeland Security, DHS, has removed a higher percentage of arrested border crossers in its first 2 years than Donald Trump did, than the Trump DHS did over its last 2 years. Moreover, migrants were more likely to be here's the important part too. Moreover, migrants were more likely to be released after a border arrest under President Trump than President Biden. In absolute terms, the Biden DHS is removing 3.5 times as many people per month as the Trump DHS did. These figures are important for understanding how each administration has carried out border enforcement. During the Trump administration, DHS made 1.4 million arrests, what it calls encounters in fiscal years 2019 and 2020, 24 months. Of those people arrested, only 47% were removed as of December 31st, 2021, which includes people arrested by Trump and removed by Biden, and 52% were released into the U.S. Under Biden, DHS made over 5 million arrests in its first 26.3 months, and it nearly removed nearly 2.6 million, 51%, while releasing only 49%. In other words, the Trump DHS removed a minority of those arrested, while the Biden DHS removed a majority. Biden managed to increase the removal share while also increasing the total removals by a factor of 3.5. So the idea that Joe Biden is allowing this invasion and that there is even an invasion happening to begin with is just made up. It's a made up talking point, like critical race theory was, like all the LGBTQ hysteria is, and this invasion is needed for them to propagate the propaganda to do what they're trying to do right now, which is override the federal government, because they want to do this is a precedent, which is what they want to set. And, they already lost in terms of the court. Now, keep in mind, this is a court that was packed by Donald Trump, so they can't even say that, the Supreme Court is illegitimate because it is ran by, a bunch of left-wing woke ideologues, because it's a conservative Supreme Court. Donald Trump rigged it, and I believe even like Amy Coney Barrett sided with the 5 in the 5-4 decision. So they can't use that excuse. Even now, you have 25 states that are actually backing Texas. Here's a statement right here. Let's go ahead and read this. There's a statement released Thursday on the Republican Governors Association website, criticized the Biden administration and said the state of Texas has a constitutional right to defend itself. We stand in solidarity with our fellow Governor Greg Abbott and the state of Texas in utilizing every tool and strategy, including razor wire fences, to secure the border. The letter signed by 25 Republican governors because the Biden administration has abdicated its constitutional compact duties to the states. Texas has every legal justification to protect the sovereignty of our states and our nation. So there is a map, but if you aren't looking at the video and you are just hearing my voice podcast style, I'll just go ahead and read out all of the states. Some aren't going to surprise you at all. Alabama, Alaska, Arkansas, Florida, of course, Ronnie D. Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Utah, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wyoming. And Vermont Governor Phil Scott is the only Republican governor who did not sign on to the statement to support Abbott. So you have a bunch of states and a bunch of these Republican governors from these states, of course, backing Texas because they want to set the precedent, and also they want to spit in the face of Joe Biden because he is the Democrat president. So at the end of the day here, Joe Biden has authority to federalize the Texas Guard, meaning, in short, Biden will take over as commander-in-chief of the Texas Guard, which is typically ran by the state governor in Texas, that being Greg Abbott. Now, there are also some reasons why this might take a bit longer and it could get a bit messy because there's also budget deals issues going on right now between the Democrats and the GOP going on in D.C. So this could be an issue if they want any deal to pass at all. It could get messy. But to put it plainly here, there's really two situations that could happen. If Biden does nothing, it will signal to more Republicans to act more unhinged and to try to strong arm the federal government in future cases. If Biden does that, who knows what could happen because it doesn't seem like Greg Abbott plans on really standing down. And things could get messy across the U.S. and in D.C. in regards of getting deals done with the GOP and Democrats. Now, a second civil war, because I know people like Tim Pool is very horny for it. Very unlikely. I don't see it happening. Something big could happen, but another civil war, I don't see it. But crazy stuff going on right now, and we will have to just look and see how it plays out.